Toronto Stevie Live, and let's talk about groceries. Toronto Stevie Live, like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Had an interesting back and forth with Brad Smith from AM 640. He's on the radio, and he was responding to a post that I thought was Mark Carney introducing the new groceries and essentials benefit. Um, Someone was complaining, oh, another socialist program from the liberal government. Um, and Brad Smith replied with, "You're not familiar with the concept of economic policy, are you? What happened after Trudeau's grocery rebate?" To which I responded, "My grocery bills went down a little bit, and every little bit helps. And this is a good move by Carney." To which Brad Smith replied, "No, they didn't. You got more money. That is tax money. That will have to be paid back in taxes. Food costs didn't change. Canada just put it on their credit card. You'll pay the interest later, sadly." To which I replied, I should have said it's a good political move for Carney. Nobody just told Ford that the hydro rebates have to be paid back, and they've been in place since 2019. So, yes, um, that's actually true. Those rebates, when Ford came in, he immediately introduced hydro rebates, which we've been enjoying ever since. Um, but this post is about groceries, and I thought, as a proof, I thought I'd bring some grocery rebates or grocery bills to, uh, as an example. I go to No Frills at the Dufferin Mall. Here's one for $142.27, which includes $2.54 in harmonized sales tax. Here's another one for $122.70, which includes $5.18 in harmonized sales tax. Here's a third one, $133.36, which includes $5.63 in harmonized sales tax. So, given this, Carney introduced a Canada Groceries and Essentials benefit, providing what he said was $11 billion in additional relief over 6 years, and basically saying it was low and moderate income and advising people to file their income taxes. But I noticed my household is just me and my wife. And so, but when he was talking about couples, he was talking about couples with kids. And unfortunately, we don't have any kids. So this looks like a tax rebate. Um, so I don't even know if my wife and I would benefit from this. But nonetheless, I mentioned that, yes, this is a good political move for Carney because it's over a 6 year period. And that basically means up until the next election, I guess, whether it's in 3 years, 4 years, um, it would come into place like right away. So file your income taxes. But this is basically yet another domestic agenda that Carney, I guess, when he's not running around into various countries making deals. I understand he's going to be going to India and Australia in March. Um, uh, he needs to give tax relief to anybody, to ordinary, moderate income, moderate income Canadians, um, because they're the ones who have to stretch the dollar the farthest with on as limited income as possible. So when you have food inflation, which is going up considerably higher than regular inflation. And like I said, when you only have two people in a household and they've got bills this high, you gotta wonder how on earth do you get this? Um, but it adds up. Uh, it certainly adds up. So um, what do you think? Do you think that getting tax relief on your benefit on your groceries is a good idea, or is it a bad idea? Is it yet $11 billion in tax relief over 6 years? Um, do you agree with Brad Smith that it's on the on Canada's credit card, and yet it adds even more debt to Canada, which I believe is already ballooning out of control? Um, um, according to Wiki, Canada's national debt are projected to exceed $1.4 trillion, largely due to the pandemic, by the way. We went almost $1 trillion in debt, largely due to the pandemic, and it's now over a trillion, with $46 billion annually as interest on the debt. And that's basically debt that we're going to be paying off for a very long time. So Carney is adding about another 11 billion to this, which is, considering it's 1.4 trillion projected, it's just a drop in the bucket, but yet even more debt. But nonetheless, are you already trying to stretch a dollar as far as you can on your groceries? If you are, as I was when Trudeau introduced his grocery rebates, you'll take the debt relief, whatever you can get. If you're trying to stretch the dollar as far as you can, you'll take tax relief wherever you can find it. And if the government of Canada is going to offer you tax relief, you'll take it no matter what. You won't exactly be uh, complaining, nonetheless. And also brought up the fact that Doug Ford came into office and, like a year later, introduced an Ontario hydro rebate, which he was going to end, but then he extended it. And we still get a rebate on our hydro bills every month. And nobody to this day, as far as I know, has ever asked Doug Ford, these rebates are going to have to be paid back, even though Ford has plunged Ontario taxpayers deeply in debt by over $500 million. I mean, $500 billion, I should say. We're $500 billion in debt. Ontario, the province of Ontario is. But nobody is clamoring for Doug Ford, telling him, that money has to be paid back. No, we're taking the tax rebates from Ontario Hydro every single month, and it's helping us pay our bills. So you got to keep that in mind. That when you're struggling with paying your own bills, that's what you're concentrated on, your own bills. You're not thinking about the federal government, and maybe that's what federal governments, whether they're federal, provincial, municipal, maybe that's what the politicians count on. That you're not going to complain all that much about later on down the road when they introduce a new rebate or a new tax relief, which begs the question, when the conservative party or conservative politicians give you a rebate, they tend to justify it more. Or those who, and they tend not to face criticism when they give a rebate, tax breaks, or anything like that. But when a liberal does it, they're accused of being socialist, which is kind of unfair and ridiculous, especially when they're basically doing the same thing. Politicians are basically doing the same thing regardless of political ideology, and yet they're seen as different. But it's not, it's the same thing. So hopefully, much like the Ontario Hydro rebate, this new groceries rebate, federal groceries rebate, it might not help me all that much, considering how much the harmonized sales tax is actually tacked on to my grocery bill. a couple of dollars, maybe $1, not going to help me all that much. But I still think it's a good idea for those who, like I said, are stretching $1 as far as they can. So this is Toronto Stevie Live. Just wanted to pop in, give my quick views on that. Like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you later.